Okay. Hello guys. Welcome back to the Nigerian Abroad podcast. It's so good to be back recording. I think I mentioned on our Instagram that I have to, because of the nature of my job and the nature of my schedules, I have to record like multiple episodes at a go. So I've had to book in with the studio to record. Well, today is just two because of my schedule, but I'm very happy to be back. It's been a while. The last time I recorded was a month ago, well, 6 weeks ago. So I'm happy to be back. And today I am feeling it. Like um I have a specific rant today. I thought about scripting it and I was like, it's not going to feel like me. It's not going to feel very organic and I need all the emotions to be inside. So my episode rant today, I feel like I'm going to have a couple of those in the future. Just come on here and I'll just rant for 30 minutes or less. My rant today is about a specific thing. I don't know what to call it, entity, a body. But I'd like to call them my business partner, my silent business partner, because they seem to always be present in everything I do. So, I go to work, I work long hours, and I'm back and I receive my paycheck and they seem to be there collecting their dues. Who am I referring to? This episode is dedicated to the HMRC. And I think it's very funny. It's incredibly amusing the shock each time we look at our pay slips. And I don't know why I said paycheck the first time. We look at our pay slips and every time we're like, there's no way that the king worked this long with me because I put in these hours. How come I'm paying this amount of tax? Anyway, this is just going to be all about the tax collector. I don't know how much I'm going to rant and ramble on, but I think this episode is going to be out on the final week of September. So I feel like it's going to be in the mood. It's just we're going to get into when people are getting paid, salary week, and where is all that money? So one thing I realized is for immigrants, we are not as financially literate as we ought to be. What do I mean by that? We're coming to the country and I mean, obviously, people are paid by hour, most jobs. And so the immigrant's mindset is you're just adding those hours up. Let's say I earn £15 per hour and I work 5 hours. So that's, what's the calculation? £75. And automatically you're thinking that is how much I'm going to get without thinking that you're paying tax and every other deduction that comes from it. And I believe that financial literacy is a given for an immigrant. Like, not a given, maybe. Financial literacy should be something every immigrant should strive to have. I'm not speaking as if I know because I'm on my own financial journey. But I feel like as immigrants, if we are not careful, we might fall into the pit of like this whole not knowing about your finances or not knowing anything about it. But I'm not going to go into that. Hopefully, I'll have someone come in and speak on that. And my focus today is HMRC and the pit of booking more shifts and booking more work. And there was one period. This was, I think, my first or second year in the UK, and I had booked so many shifts. I think I was trying to pay for my graduate route visa. So I had booked so many shifts and I was like, I even booked holiday shifts. So that's like double of everything. And I was like, yes, money. I think what I was expecting was a couple thousands after like I'd worked myself. And I got significantly less than I was getting. I think the heartbreak of that is incredibly daunting because what do you mean that I have worked 2 weeks straight, back to back 12-hour shift, night shifts, and I'm getting almost half less of what I am actually expecting? Why? Because it has been paid as tax. The worst heartbreak that I feel like a person can get, apart from seeing that, oh, you've been taxed, maybe you've worked so many hours, you're expecting a certain amount of money, and you've seen that, oh, this amount of money has been taken. There's that heartbreak, but there's a bigger heartbreak, and it is at the end of the tax year, you check your thingy, and then you basically, the message just says, oh, you've paid the right amount of tax this year. And everybody that is expecting tax refund is like, oh, damn. In my opinion, that's like the biggest heartbreak. I mean, come on. What do you mean I've paid the right tax? I should have paid more. The amount of money people have been collecting, that should have been more. That was by the way. I think one thing I wanted to touch on is the fact that as immigrants, we are so focused on the getting of the money, the getting. Again, let me pause and say, when I say we, I mean myself too, because it was not up to 3 weeks ago that I just came out of booking extra weeks of at work. So I know that once my friends listen to this, they'll be like, but you, Ijeme, you also book. I'm like, yes. It even got to the point where I was like, by next year, you should grab me by the neck if I book any extra shifts, because they saw how much it was taking a toll on me. So when I say we, I'm not trying to advise anybody. I'm just here to rant, because me too, me, myself, and I'm included in all of this. So drag all the way. So what was I trying to say? I'm trying to say, like, this was something I discovered last year. It didn't change anything because I still booked extra shifts, but I discovered it. We are so focused on booking so much shifts. We're so focused on getting extra work because we think automatically that extra work means extra money. But that is not necessarily the case. How much more is that extra money costing us? In our head, we're thinking, I've worked maybe 15 hours more, and you're thinking that automatically translates into 15 hours worth of money, but it does not. What has that extra work cost you? It has cost you your time. It has cost you effort. It has cost you so many things that you're probably going to need elsewhere. At a certain point, we'll have to start asking ourselves, where does it end? Am I going to continue this cycle? Something is going to give. If I normally work 3 days a week, and this time I've chosen to work 6 days a week because I want more money. Don't get me wrong. There are certain instances where I feel like maybe there's an unexpected expense that has come up and you're like, I don't have a choice. This is a sacrifice. I'm going to do it. Then in that case, I mean, you don't have a choice. You have the opportunity to work extra, and so you do it. But what I'm referring to is a situation where, or situations where it's just like, I want more money. I want more money. I want more money. I want more money. And you think that you're going to get that by working more. I think the system in the UK is just not permissive for that. Like, there was a quote I saw somewhere, I'm not sure if I have this right or have it verbatim, but you don't get rich by working harder. You get rich by working smarter. And honestly, that is the truth. I am a living testimony of somebody. I'm not about to say I'm a living testimony of someone that has gotten rich, but I'm a living testimony of somebody who has worked several 24-hour shifts when I was here, I think my first year. And what was it? At first, it was okay. I need to meet up this bill. I need to meet up this visa application, which I did. But then I found myself getting sucked into that pit hole of, well, more shifts equals more money. So why not? Why not lose a few extra hours of sleep? Why not do this? The commute time is 2 hours, but I don't care. It's more money. And we would get into that mindset of, oh, more shifts, more money, more shifts, more money. But the tax system says more shifts is not equal to more money, because you're paying there are several deductions, the NI, the pension, the major tax itself. So if it is something that you are thinking about in the long run, I don't think you should stay in that. I feel like it's a realization you would come to have. You're just like, when you just have that moment of epiphany, it's just like a eureka moment. You're like, I don't want to continue like this. I don't want to. And don't get me wrong, several circumstances demand a lot from you. there are students who are the ones probably like maybe their family's miracle and they have to do what they need to do. That situation is understandable. I mean, like when it comes to the mindset of making money, the mindset of having money, and the mindset of being rich, getting rich is not by booking more shifts. It's not by getting more and more and more and more and more and more. Again, I'm saying this, Ijeme Yahweh. This message is for you. Why are you always booking extra shifts when you know that the HMRC will come for you? Do you know the funny thing? My friends say this to me all the time. Like, I've been doing the same thing. I've been in this very, 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 very bad habit for the last 3 years. And the first year, I was just like, oh, okay, extra week, X amount of money. I was like, oh my gosh, that means. And then my husband said to me, you know, that's not the case, but I was like, well, last, it's still this amount that come out. But every day that I was doing that extra work, I was complaining. I was complaining about something. And then at each point, I'd be like, oh, this person is going out, but I'm working. You're going out. Hey, I'm not enjoying this. So it cost me something. It cost me peace of mind. It cost me having a good time. My friend, it cost me, to an extent, it cost me community. That was the first year. And then at the end of that shift, I said, next year, I'm not doing extra shifts. I said it with my full chest. And then the next year came and I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to just book a few extra. I mean, I'm not doing anything, so why not? My husband looked at me, HMRC. Like, he just has that look and he's like, HMRC. And I'm like, well, I know now, it's not past this. Literally, when I started the extra shift, the first day I was just like, more, next year I'm not doing. And then you laugh. So I think even at a point, my friends and people who like look at my WhatsApp status, they're just like, I just come again. And I'm just like, so that's year 2. This year, not too long, last month was year 3. And what did Ijeme Yahweh do? I booked extra, even more than before. Like the last time I had worked this much for these extra shifts I did was the first year when I started doing the extra. And I was just like, from the first year, I was like, I don't know the jazz, I don't know the juju they have done for me, but next year, I'm not doing. So now what I've done is, I made this joke, which I don't even think should be a joke. I was like, it's like I'll do blood covenant or something that, so that when I'm booking, something will automatically stop me from booking. It's not funny, but I've gotten to that point where booking extra is a bad habit. So there is nothing so significant to pay for that I'm like, okay, I need to do these extra shifts just so I can do it. Like a couple of my colleagues, when they do those extra shifts, they're like, oh, I have like a dental something. I've got this health situation that I need to pay for and NHS is messing up, so I have to do it. There is a purpose for that money and that makes sense. For me, I mean, the first time it seemed like there was a purpose, which first time there was a purpose. Second time, not really per se. It was just like the thought of more money and the thought of having something extra drop in my account. I was just like, and I'm just thinking back and I'm like, every year you find yourself in this situation. But then to even push the question to like a broader audience, how many of us are in that situation where each time it is just the thought of making more money? It is the thought of having more, the thought of, oh, this is my pathway to financial freedom. It is that mindset that puts us in here. Because the moment you wake up from that, you realize that you're just like on this hamster wheel and you're going and you're going and you're going and you're going back in the same spot. Because that is not the way to become rich. If that is your mindset, if that is your goal. But I feel like we all have to come to an understanding. Well, if you want to, if you're tired, if you're not tired, or not. I've met people who are just like, they're fine with their working 5-6 days, more money. Because let's even say you've done the shifts, HMRC has collected their own. TFL prices are going up every single day. TFL is transport for London. Every other thing is prices of egg. Let's not even go into coffee. I mean, this one that everybody's saying that if you don't buy coffee, if you save the money you spend on coffee, you'll be able to buy a house. No, we can't. I think one of the things we need to focus on is trying to be level-headed. Take a step back and ask yourself, is this something I want to keep doing? Is this something I'm going to continue, even though I am seeing that it is putting so much stress on me? It's taking a toll on me, my mental health. I'm doing so much. I feel like I'm missing out. But I feel like the moment we start to think about that, you suddenly realize that there really isn't like anything to it. It's just working harder and working harder and working harder and working harder and working harder, working harder. I get that there are a lot of factors involved. I get there's a lot of things that we need to consider. Being an immigrant, it is no small feat. Like, there is a lot of people on your neck. Like, for most immigrants, so I'm not trying to speak and overgeneralize, but for most immigrants, you've traveled. Now, speaking specifically to Nigerian immigrants, you've traveled, and most of the time it is pressure from home. Not understanding that, as let's say you're a student, for instance, let's just say you're a student. And as a student, during term time, you're not allowed to work more than 20 hours. But how much does that 20 hours actually do? So let's say holiday comes when you're supposed to be relaxing, unwinding from school. You then get into this, I must work, because I need to meet up the 20 hours I didn't work during term time. So there is that understanding. We fully understand all of that. This is even regarding the shifts that are so physically demanding. So the people who are lucky enough to get online jobs, writing jobs, people who are like very tech savvy and all of that. But the people who are into the warehouse roles, store assistant, security, or care, I don't know why I didn't call care first. Care, what's the other one? Oh, I've left care. I don't remember the name. What's this one? No, there's care and there's something. Support. How did I? I've left the industry. It's so funny because I spent like a full year doing it, almost a year and a half. But for people who are really into that career, let's just say, so this is the timeline. You're coming as a student, and you respect the 20-hour work window every week. And then Christmas comes. Christmas is around 3 weeks of break. You should be unwinding, but you're not unwinding because you're thinking, I need to book more shifts because I have a lot of pressure back home. So let's say I need to actually calculate this. Let me get my calculator out. So let's assume you actually do 20 hours per week during term time and you're earning, actually £15 is generous. Let me say £12. £12 per hour times 20, that's like £240. By the way, £240 per week is not what you get. They will tax you. Even though at the end of the tax year you get your refund because you're a student. I'm not going to go into that. But at that point you won't get that 250. I don't know how to calculate this. I'm not about to get that into my brain. And so there are 4 weeks in a month, and then multiply by 4. That's like £960. My brain's not mathing, so it's £700. I don't know. I don't know. And then you get to Christmas period. See, £700 not even, because you're paying rent. £700 a month is not a lot. It might be 800. I don't really know. Somebody should do the math for me because my brain, no. I was not. It's not a math. I'm still not a math person. I still use my phone to calculate 1 + 1. But £700 is not a lot. 700, 800 pounds. Even if you got 1K, it's not enough for you to live for 1 month because you're paying rent. You're doing a lot of things. Blah blah blah. Which, by the way, you were brought into the country thinking that you're able to support yourself and you're just here to study fully. That's why they put the 20-hour cap on your work week. So let's just say this is what you'll be getting during term time. Now, outside term time, you can work as many as one. And I'm not even lying. I've met people who have worked back-to-back shifts. At some point, if not for the limitations of the physical body, of the human body, they probably be doing 24-hour shifts every single day. I've met somebody who did 2 24-hour shifts back to back, but then he spaced it out. So he was working every day and he did a 12-hour shift every day. And then like for 2-3 extra days, he was then doing 24-hour shifts and the time as a student that you're using to unwind, that you're supposed to unwind, what you're doing is that you are working and trying to make up for the 20 hours a week that you were doing. Like, when you think about it, you're like, unfortunately, that is the reality for people. And they found themselves in that situation and they are unable to bring themselves out of it. So this was my former flatmate, Chinam. So she was probably one of the people that inspired me to be like, okay, I'm not doing care for longer than a year. When she came into the country, she schooled and then she was working on transitioning. She was on the Pivot episode. She was the one that talked about how she transitioned from several careers. And she was like, okay, this is not working. I'm doing this now. We lived together for a year. And when we moved in, she was like, this is the goal I have. This is what I'm going to do. I am going to work in care for 6 months. And in those 6 months, I'm going to be training. I'm going to be doing this. At the end of that 6 months, I should have gotten a job. Now, I'm not using her life as a blueprint, but I have seen people pick themselves up from that care mindset and that multiple job mindset and that several shifts and pick themselves up from that mindset. Because look, we we can know in our mind in theory that too many shifts is too much. Like this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. We can know that. But the moment you just see shifts available, extra shifts available, £15 per hour, your brain has already calculated, I could use the extra money regardless of how much I'm losing. I could use the extra money regardless of how many hours more I would work. Let's say I'm used to working 15 hours a week, and then I take on another 15 hours. I won't get paid for those extra 15 hours because HMRC probably tax like 5 or 6 hours out of those 15 hours, 15 extra hours. That is how it works. That's how, like, I've gotten my brain to understand. Like, everybody's talking numbers, who they will take this. Me, by the time you talk number, I'm not, my brain know they pick that kind of thing. By the time you tell me this number of hours you've worked, that's how me and my former flatmates, that's how me and Chinomto will do. Let's say we want to buy something. We'll go to Primark whenever we want to treat ourselves. We'll go to Primark and we're like, oh, let's say this dress is £30. And she'll be like, Ijeme, that's 2 hours of work. That's how my brain like translates it. And I'm like, the moment you start to think about how much your time is involved in those extra shifts and how much you're not really being paid for that time, then it starts to hit you. Now, the thing hit me last year, but I still did the same. I still made the same mistake this year. So having an epiphany is completely different from doing something about that realization. When you come to a realization about something, you still have to take steps to actually doing that right thing. So me, last year I was just like, oh, I've booked so many shifts. I've done this. There has to be an end. I can't do this. And I knew month 1 came, I was like, I'm going to stay strong. Month 2, month 3. By the time the offer came, it was just like, who's available for this? I didn't even think. I just messaged my husband, babe, I'm doing this. And he was just like, babe, HMRC. And I'm just like, how much is it going to be? I'm like, girl, are you okay? I don't know. I feel like it's just a weird cycle that you keep doing that. So see, by the time you realize one thing, realization is one thing. Actually doing something about that realization is another thing. So in essence, this is just my rant. I don't know whether I said anything that was very meaningful, or if you guys like, see, I don't know. I don't know if this is advice, because we might even need the advice. So everybody help yourselves. Help me. Me, I even need the help. So I don't know. But thank you guys for listening. Maybe the next time I do an HMRC episode, I've learned my lesson. But thank you guys for listening. Thank you for subscribing, and please comment. Like, I know you guys see the video, like you send me messages about the video, so please comment, like, share it, please. We are on TikTok, we're on Instagram, we're on X, on YouTube, obviously. And then if you want to listen to the podcast on audio, we are everywhere podcast stable. But yeah, have an amazing day. Bye.